I'm Dr. Al. I'm the proprietor of Medicbreath, and this little tube is an inhalant tube in a solidified form, and you inhale it through your nostrils. And I was diagnosed with terminal cancer 7 years ago, and I've used this, and it's saved my life. I know it saved my life, and it may also save your life by inhaling this. Thank you.
Hello and welcome. My name is Deborah Drake and I'm an integrative medical doctor. I'm here to inform you, inspire you, and to introduce you to a very wonderful humanitarian, Professor and Dr. Al Molinov. We're here to show you a prospectus opportunity about a world-class natural herbal product that could change the face of mankind and, for that matter, animal kind. And it's as simple and as small as something like this. Welcome to Medicbreath. We'd like to talk to you about what we know about a wonderful invention, and I've got the proprietor of the company himself and president here, Dr. Al Molinov, and I'd like to interview him on your behalf so that I may ask him some of the questions you'd be interested in to hear about this world-class project. Welcome, Dr. Al.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice to be working with you, of course, and certainly I appreciate you interviewing me in person today. To allow me to get your personal thoughts about your your incredible project and how you've come to get there and what you'd like to do with it. Mm-hmm. So do you mind if I sort of pummel you with a bunch of 20 questions?
Please.
Well, you're the proprietor, is that correct, of
Medicbreath?
How did you become the sole proprietor of such a world-class product?
Well, many years ago I met 19 professors, and I knew most of them, not all of them, but they were talking about this new Medicbreath, and I became very interested in it. And so many of these doctors now have passed on, and I'm one only left. And so at a certain time, I bought this from the widow of the inventor, and he was a scientist, a medical scientist. And when he passed on, I asked his wife if she would sell it, and that's how I acquired it. Very short capsule comment, but I think God led me to the product because I got cancer, and over the years, nobody had got cancer, had contracted cancer, who used this, and 5,000 people were tested, and over a 7-year period, and no one contracted cancer. And it was developed for a respiratory disease, and I thought, gee, this is great. And so that's how I got first involved with it. And I've had it now for some years, and I needed a doctor in my group, and that's why I've invited you to be the medical director of Medicbreath. And I've been around Dr. Bill Bigelow, who was one of the heart surgeons, notarized heart surgeon, world-renowned, and he developed also immersion hypothermia.
And the pacemaker.
And the pacemaker, and that's right. And so he said, Al, you have a product that is second to none in the world. Absolutely second to none. And so there's a capsule comment on how I fit into this.
And you yourself then inhaled this product and brought your own prostate cancer to remission, is that correct?
7 years ago, Dr. Deb, I had been diagnosed as a terminal cancer patient, prostate cancer, and they gave me no hope. I would be dead in a few months according to the top doctors at Toronto General and Princess Margaret. And I thought, gee, they're going to operate on me. So there was a 6-month delay in the operations. So they said, you have no hope, but we will do our best. And so I thought, I'll inhale this. And I took this little inhalant, and I inhaled it 4 to 5 times a day for 5 to 6 months before the operation. And then they said that they would do chemo and radiation. Well, after the operation, I healed very quickly. And I think it was due to this little magic bullet I am holding. And Dr. Virginia Livingston in 1947 said that everyone's born with a bad bacteria microbe, and I thought maybe this will kill it. I think it did, because I didn't have any chemo or radiation, didn't require any at all.
The theory being that the microbe is just covering a cancer, so if the natural killer cells find the microbe, they probably, once they uncover that, they would see the cancer beneath and clean it up while they're in the neighborhood.
I would think so.
And so we've noticed that invoking natural immunity is one of the greatest ways that we have been able to make herbal and homeopathic medicine use light doses to touch the immune system to turn it on, and it cleans itself up.
Yes, exactly. And so I had a miracle, and I thought, gee, this should be going to the world. And
so has your PSA remained at 0 now?
yes, 0, 0, and that's over 7 years. And they thought it would go up, and they gave me no hope. And so I give the credit to Medicbreath.
Now, just to be clear, that one testimonial speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
However, when you look at the scientific literature produced by the 18 medical doctors in their various clinical trials, in sanatoriums, in clinics, in hospitals, they've reported incidentally a finding that although there were no adverse side effects, no negative side effects, there was a strange absence of any findings of cancer in any of the 5,000
This is correct.
patients who took part in the trial over a 7-year period. And now that seemed highly unusual statistically to the investigative physicians who looked into this original work.
Yes.
So again, we have to ask ourselves, why is this working so well? And it comes down to, I think, important things that are really unique about this product that I think I'd just like to highlight in a nutshell.
Please.
The combination of herbs was designed by a special chemist to appropriate the Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine herbal principles of bringing down the inflammation and degeneration by stimulating the natural immune system. Therefore, there's very few side effects required because there's very low doses, because they've primed it to a very exquisite immune system level.
Yes.
In addition, they've decided to make it non-ingestible to lower the safety tolerance in the first liver pass when the 90% of all drugs are removed by the liver on the first pass through it. So they went through the nasal passages, which are much like bird passages, nasal passages of humans, and it grabs the viral or bacterial or fungal tuberculosis
Yes.
microorganism and destroys it on contact within minutes at the source. So now you aren't breathing it into the lungs and into the digestive system and the bones and having tuberculosis of the bones. You're really nipping it in the bud, right in the nasal.
Absolutely.
Right in the nasal
Absolutely.
passages. The fact that it was tested in petri dishes and showed kill in 5 minutes or less of staph, strep, yeast infections, parasites, worms, very impressive when we see that many of the antibiotics designed at the time of its inception, which was penicillin, have now developed some antibiotic resistance.
Yes.
We now know in Canada and in North America that there is a rampant, serious, flawed ability to get rid of methicillin-resistant and penicillin-resistant Staph aureus, MSRA. MRSA, pardon me. And this sprayed into MSRA would cause an entire sterilization of the hospitals.
That's right. They also felt too, Dr. Deb, that they could take it and put it through the plenums and the air conditioning units of hospitals,
Yes.
and kill the bacteria or the virus that's in those plenums. And so we think that will help a great deal.
So in order to look into that further, they were tested in misting form rather than solid tube form. And just before we leave that subject, the solid tube form of inhalant is both a great boon to sterilization, does not need a propellant to harm the ozone layer, so it's a friendly green planet friendly
Yes.
product. It can be stored and in a mobile way, not requiring compressors, hoses, masks, and other things, so anybody can take it anywhere on a stick in their chest, in any airport, any train ride, any hospital they have. In addition, it doesn't have a heat or cold sensitivity. Strangely, it has such solid properties that it can be manifested with equal potency years and years later, even in heat or cold stable environments, so you don't require refrigeration, storage, shipping and handling problems, restrictions, explosive restrictions because it's an aerator or a canister. So for the marketer who comes to market this, how simple can it get?
And this is the major thing I think about it, is that basically many of these companies, they have code dates on them and they have to return them within 3 months or 6 months, whatever. And this would have no code date on it, at least 6 to 8 years. And so you will use that in that length of time. We feel that everybody in the household will buy one of these because, you know, if it can be an anti-cancer product, who wouldn't want to have it?
And anti-flu, and
Anti-flu.
antiviral, and
Asthma.
anti-yeast, asthma,
That's right.
anti-pollution.
Exactly.
I mean, it's helping your natural killer cells be on guard, basically.
Yeah, I think there's about 1,000 doctors feel that this will take over the world markets, and it will propel that everybody will want one.
Well, I've been a medical doctor, as you know, for 25 years,
Yes.
and found myself at the brink of a change in my career recently in the last several years, moving out of allopathic medicine into integrative medicine, because frankly, we're finding the side effects of allopathic drugs causing the number one allopathic or iatrogenic death in North America is from doctors' mistakes, missed infections, hospital-acquired problems, but these are really laid down on the doctor's feet as we're not doing a good enough job. And yet, the pharmaceutical industry, bless its heart for building research abilities to get understanding of mechanisms, has failed to really solve some of the most basic fundamental problems that are plaguing the common cold, the asthmatic, the allergic patient, the one who's got airborne allergies, the soldier in the field who's getting roundworm and getting psychotic,
Yes.
the person who's on the sports team field getting the dust in their nose and getting hookworm in the nose and having asthmatic worms caused allergies their whole life and eczema and all these allergic symptoms. The person who's got tuberculosis because they live in China and they didn't know that they were exposed to it through whatever means that in that epidemic area, through no fault of their own, they've come in contact with somebody on a crowded train.
Of course.
And it also brings to mind the idea that SARS and retroviruses and coronaviruses and a new AIDS virus and all kinds of viruses that weren't around in the 1950s when these products were developed.
That's right.
There's a new market for this that hasn't really even been tested yet. And that is, you know, certainly a huge asset, that it's got antiviral, antifungal, anti-yeast, anti-tuberculin, antimycobacteria properties. And in my favorite book, as people might know me, I'm into the gut, the prevention of the gut disintegration through prevention of parasites. Its parasite challenge was also very positive and successful. And what I mean by that is that they took yeast and injected the poison from yeast, aloxantin, into rabbits to induce diabetes, and had a controlled group of those sprayed with Medicbreath mist to see if their wound infections would improve better, have less infections, and have a faster healing rate. And in the end, Medicbreath treated animals did indeed have a successful and measurably improved outcome to speed healing. So now we've come from the allopathic world that has invasive radiation, medication, or operation to a natural world that says, let's try invoking the natural immune system with more natural products at lower doses to stimulate the very powerful immune system to do its own natural killing job and keep us like a self-cleaning oven.
Exactly. In the 1950s, the scientists also developed the virus, I can't think of the name of it now, in the eyes, and they were going to take his eye out. An ophthalmologist said...
herpes virus?
Herpes virus, yes. And they called it shingles, I believe, in those days.
Yes.
Yeah.
The inventor of this product.
Yes. And they were going to have to take his eye out because of the infection. And so one of the New York surgeons, who was an ophthalmologist, and said that try your own product. So he did, and he saved his eye.
Did he really? How did he? And he sprayed it on his eye?
No, he just inhaled it.
He inhaled it.
The eye, I guess, was close enough to the nostrils and that it got into the
well,
system.
that brings up another point, which is that the inhalation through the nose still invokes a systemic immune reaction, and so even systemic septic reactions throughout the entire body, skin, gut, bladder infections were tested, sinus infections, bronchitis, pneumonia, ear infections, and those were systemic and outside just the nasal area. So you can see that it does have a circulatory, almost like a flower essence homeopathic invocation of a much stronger immune reaction based on its very secretly selected, carefully blended, time-coded, very protected, non-patented formulation.
Right.
Can we talk about the secret formula or the secret formulation that makes this so unique as a product to a marketing audience who wants to buy into this product and help us launch it to society and bring it to the health of humanity as well as misting it perhaps into the animal world?
When they, as scientists, decided to develop this, they thought they should go a herbal route because they thought this is the way to go, a natural product rather than go prescription, and this is what they've done. And so there's approximately 8 or 9 herbal ingredients in this, and I've taken this to some of the largest pharmaceutical companies in North America, where the microbiologists questioned me on the product, and they said they know about the product. They've tried to break it, and they tried to break the code of the formula, and they said, we know everything that's in your product, but we don't know the combinations of